Now, the best way I can figure to tell you how to strengthen your knees is to basically tell you how I strengthen my knees. Now, this is going to start with my history of knee pain. Like, knee pain and lower back pain has just been something that has been kind of a part of my athletic life and martial arts life for as long as I've been doing it. Obviously, my childhood and high school, I played sports, and I didn't have knee issues then. I was a lot slimmer. But as I got older and my frame changed and I grew into my adult body, the more training, conditioning I did, the more issues I had with my knees. Did a lot of strength and conditioning in my 20s, but mostly got into the whole lifting thing and the bodybuilding kind of in my 20s. Late 20s, I started doing triathlons because I felt like I needed to find some kind of interesting way to get my cardio in. While doing that, I really had a lot of issues with my lower back, my knees, and my ankles. Not really knowing what to do about it. All you really knew at that point was to stretch. Back then, guys, at that era, we weren't even rolling. We didn't even know anything about rolling and recovery and all that stuff. Things hurt, you stretched it. So my doctor stepped in and said, you're not built for running, you're a heavyweight, your frame is too big, you need to stop running. In an effort to find conditioning elsewhere, that took me into martial arts, like kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, just martial arts as a whole. And so I started that in my early 30s, 30, 31. Through kickboxing and sparring and impact and rolling, your knee gets twisted and put at risk in different ways. So you're adding more danger or you're adding more issues. And so of course, you get strains and sprains and pain and you kind of work through it. When I was in all that and at an MMA gym, we really didn't understand recovery fully. It was back to stretching and doing all these kind of things that we thought would help. Ice, ibuprofen, and ultimately what you did was knee braces and stuff like that. Until things healed, you kind of just worked around it as best you could. And that's kind of been my life ever since. My knees have constantly kind of come in and out of different types of pain and issues. And again, we did understand recovery better. So, what I did for recovery, of course, at this juncture, rollers became a thing. So you started rolling things and you got some relief from that, and then massage guns, and then different types of ointments. And people just got smarter in rehabbing your knees. So you learned different exercises to kind of help with the pain and the strain, but never quite strengthening your knees. So what I learned through all the years of recovery leading up to the last year or so actually, was just how to try to recover them, how to help them heal and keep them basically held together just enough for you to continue to train. And then you were just right back in the same boat. You would kind of strain it again or hurt it again in a different way or different part of the knee or, and you just weren't ever really making it strong enough to withstand the training of the things that you were doing. You were basically just putting a Band-Aid over it, letting it heal a little bit and just putting it through the ringer again. My knees got so bad, I couldn't even fully squat. I'm switching to body weight training and lowering the weights and trying different ways to heal. But again, I'm wondering why my knees aren't getting stronger. So at one point, there was a point where I just accepted that I think I'm gonna have bad knees. I had friends who do jiu-jitsu, professors who had to go through knee surgeries. I had, it seemed like just the kind of things we were doing, that was just inevitably going to be a thing. And I was like, okay, well, I guess you're just kind of tearing things down and eventually it's just gonna completely need to be fixed. I did not like that as an option or as a future for me. Fortunately, I came across the knees over toes guy last year, and this guy was changing the game, and rightly so. And he was preaching how it's not just rehabbing your knees, it's about strengthening your knees. And I never really had, really established the difference, understood the difference. I thought rehabbing your knees was building them back up, but he's talking about not just building them back to where they were, but building them even stronger than that. And I'm not going to go into all of his philosophies and all of his teachings. You should just look him up because the guy is spitting serious knowledge. He is giving gold away on the internet. So now let's lead into the meat of it. This is how I strengthened my knees and how I'm able to train better than I have in years and do it for a lengthy period before I feel any kind of strains or sprains or any kind of discomfort in my knees. I can say right now, over just the beginning of this year, my knees have been stronger than they've ever been, and it's through sticking to this routine. And I've put a few videos out before, so I'll put the links in the description that kind of lead up to this, but I'll cover them all right now. So first and foremost, what I did was I got a tib bar. And a tib bar is very helpful in strengthening your tibialis, and that was very useful in strengthening my knees. So that's number one. Second is ATG squats. These things are huge. I used to do them a lot when I first started, but I don't do them as much. But if you can really get into doing the proper ATG squats, like a knee over toes squat, those things are huge. But I feel like that's something you should build up to. And I would build up to it doing the next few things I'm about to talk about. So an Asian squat or passive squat is a huge deal. That alongside a Seiza seated position or sitting on your heels, those things are so good at like stretching your knees. Now, after stretching your knees, when your knees are in that extended or stretched position, it's about doing movements in that position that I have found really strengthen my knees. And that's when I'm in a squatted position. And again, I covered this in my Asian squat video. I do these bottom pulses while I'm in that squat position. And those have been huge for giving me serious strength in my knees. Very similar to that is sitting in the Seiza position or the seated heel position and doing pulses in that position. I'm certain I'm developing the same strength, but in just a different position. But those two alone are massive. They have probably given me the most gains in strengthening my knees. Outside of that, I do, if you can work your way up to like the top half pulses when you're in the squat or in the seated position, like bringing yourself all the way up. But guys, that's ultimately what I do. So it's between 3 to 5 different exercises that I do, and I do this 4 times a week, usually before a workout. Sometimes I'll do a one routine before I hit my strength conditioning, and then later on in the day when I'm about to do my martial arts like some Muay Thai or grappling, I'll do a quick, the pulses on the knees kind of thing, or a quick routine there, mainly because I can get a good stretch and like kind of prime my knees for that type of training. But ultimately, I do it 4 days a week, and I have seen tremendous gains from this. Like, my knees feel stronger than they ever have. Given all the things I engage in between strength conditioning and grappling and Muay Thai and again, beyond the things within that, the rolling and the sparring and the impact and all that stuff, my knees just aren't experiencing as many bouts with pain as they used to. Man, there used to be a time where you just didn't see me without one or the other or both of my knees in a brace of some kind or a sleeve. I have not put on a sleeve in months, and that is a serious achievement for me. So that is how I strengthen my knees, and I've been sharing it with my students, and it's something maybe you should look at. Now, beyond what I've shown you in this video, I think you should really take a look at the knees over toes guy. He has so many more workouts. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope the information is helpful, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll keep this thing going. I'll see you guys in the next video.